When we left off, Arnie was about to be eaten by Mr. Bing. When he opened his eyes to see where he was going, he discovered that he was heading straight for Mr. Bing's open mouth. Let's see what happens next. "What are you doing?" shouted Arnie. Mr. Bing was stunned. He dropped Arnie back onto the plate. I was going to eat you," he replied in shock. "Eat me?" Arnie shrieked, his sprinkles flying everywhere. "Why would you do a thing like that? Do you make a habit of eating all your house guests?" No, of course not." "So why, then, did it suddenly occur to you to eat me?" Arnie demanded. "Well, because you're a donut. That's what donuts are for, to eat." "Do you mean to tell me you've done this before?" "Yes, I eat a donut every day," Mr. Bing said sheepishly. Arnie froze. He felt sick and frightened and angry. He thought to himself for a moment, "I must put a stop to this right away. I'll call the bakery and warn the others. Whoever's left, that is." Arnie knew that there was no time to waste, and that he needed to be very sneaky in order to keep his plan from Mr. Bing. He turned to Mr. Bing and said in the sweetest voice, "Excuse me, sir, but I don't believe we've been properly introduced. My name is Arnie." Hello, Arnie," Mr. Bing stammered. "I'm Mr. Bing. It's nice to meet you. Mr. Bing, would you be a dear and allow me to use your telephone?" Arnie asked, extra politely. "Oh, well, okay," said Mr. Bing, and he handed Arnie the phone. As quickly as he could, Arnie dialed the number of the bakery. The baker answered the phone. "Downtown Bakery, home of the best—" "Mr. Baker Man!" Arnie frantically whispered. "This is Arnie the Doughnut. Do you remember me? You made me at 5:15 this morning. I was bought about 20 minutes ago by a man who goes by the name of Mr. Bing." "Yes, Arnie," the baker answered. "What can I do for you?" "Now, I don't want to alarm you, but just moments ago, the man tried to eat me. Not only that, he claims to have eaten hundreds of us. I'm going to make a run for it, but I wanted to warn you so that if you see him coming into the bakery again, you can stop him." "Oh my, Arnie, I thought you understood. That's why I make donuts. For people to eat." "Can't believe it," Arnie gasped. "Are the other donuts aware of this arrangement?" "Well, I think so," the baker said. "Let me ask them to make sure." The baker yelled to the other donuts. "Do you donuts know that you're gonna be eaten?" "Yes, we know," the donut shouted back. "We're delicious." "Did you hear that, Arnie?" the baker asked. Arnie was crushed. The phone dropped from his hand. He heard all he needed to hear. Arnie forgot about his plan to escape. He collapsed back onto the plate, glanced up at Mr. Bing, and muttered, "All right, then. Let's get this over with. Go ahead and eat me." Mr. Bing gazed down at Arnie. "I'm not going to eat you, Arnie," he said reassuringly. "I just wouldn't feel right about it." "Really?" Arnie said with a huge sigh of relief. "Well, I'm glad to see that you've come to your senses." "But since I'm not going to eat you," Mr. Bing continued, "I'll have to figure out something else to do with you. I paid good money for you, and I don't want to be wasteful." "Of course not," Arnie agreed. "What we need to do is each make a list of things that we can do with you instead of eating you. Between the two of us, I know we'll come up with something." "Good plan, Mr. Bing," Arnie said. "This will be a breeze. I bet I'm good at a lot of stuff." "Can you make a list of things that Arnie could do other than being eaten by Mr. Bing? What else could we put donuts to use for?" This is the end of part 2. Think of some ideas, then come back with your ideas.